Yo, what's going on YouTube? Back at it again with another College Football 26 video. And this one's going to be a seminar about how I like to build and establish my run game and how I'm able to run the ball on a lot of these meta defenses, right? That's a question I've gotten a lot is, hey, I love the passing concept, but I just can't run the ball on 3-3 mint and dollar and double mug. So I wanted to spend some time going a little more in depth, specifically out of Notre Dame, but a lot of these concepts apply out of 100 different playbooks, right? About how we're able to run the ball on a lot of these meta sets, okay? So we're going to start with how I want to run on like kind of base four-man lineman or four lineman sets. And then we're going to go to mint and dollar and double mug right after that. So to start versus any sort of normal like four-man rush, like a four-man down lineman set, we're going to come out really in two runs I really like. And there's going to be any shotgun duo or dive. So out of Notre Dame, we have bunch strong offset. We have a duo. And out of trips Y over, we have halfback dive. Generally, I think dive is the best versus this, but both are really powerful. Let me show you what dive looks like. So there's going to be dive here. This is in a lot of playbooks too. You're going to get really pretty good blocking. Generally, you get a really good double team with your guard moving to block the linebacker right after. So you can see right here, he gets a nice pancake. And you're going to see these blocking. Obviously, I'm not hitting the holes properly just because, I'm just not. But, you're able to get pretty good downfield run blocking here and turn out pretty consistent. You really just read that Mike linebacker and you're just kind of going where he doesn't, right? You guys are able to see how this is really consistent run blocking, even without me hitting the right holes, really. I mean, we're getting 10 yards a pop, right? So that's going to be dive, and then we're going to call duo as another one, just so you guys know what this looks like before we move on to really the reason you're here, the more complicated stuff. I was doing this against run shoots, so duo, again, you get something pretty similar. Get nice little double teams, and they roll up to the second level and get you moving downfield. Again, same thing kind of here. Now, this is great and all, but let me show you guys what happens if I call this play. And part of the reason why you guys will struggle to run the ball, and a lot of people do, is let me call dive again, which we just saw was really consistent. And then let me call like 3-3 mint, right? Let me quickly just put my safeties to close. And then, let's say I run cover 3 cloud, right? This is what, normal mint blitz would look like. Something like this. And then they're going to hover right back here. And when the ball's snapped, you're going to notice they're going to come in untouched. I just completely whiffed the tackle because I was trying to run. But you're going to notice they come in completely untouched right into the backfield every single time. Let me just quickly make this tackle, right? You're just going to kind of shoot through. Okay, I don't know why I'm randomly getting blocked, but you guys saw in the first time how I came in through. That's what happens, I'm sure, in a lot of your guys' online head-to-head matches, right? You get this person standing right behind a nose tackle and then doing a loop-in trick to run in completely free just like that. So how do we attack this? Well, this is where it gets a little more complicated, but there's really going to be two types of runs I look for. The first one you're going to find in a lot of playbooks, and one I love out of Notre Dame, which is going to be halfback draw or mid-draw out of Notre Dame. So if I call the exact same play, right, let me come out and let's say cover 3 cloud again, we're going to do the exact same thing. Now, one thing that's important to mention here is versus draw, I will say this. There are 6 people in the box, and you only really have 5 linemen, because you look at your blocking assignments, which is not going to show you in practice mode. Yes, my tight end is in the box, but really, like you can see this edge rusher's untargeted. But when I snap the ball, what you're going to see is I'm going to try to use the lock-in trick, and then I'll just let my running back, like AI, run, just so you guys see what this looks like. It gets blocked up pretty well, and the reason that happens is I want to show you guys how the linemen block out of this. I think this is really important for why it works. Instead of creating a gap shoot for the user to run through, you see how they kind of just get they're like on top of each other, right? I mean, these two guys are literally running into each other. So it forces the user to almost bounce outside, or he's going to get blocked, right? So let me do that one more time on the defensive side. So you're going to see this, right? Do my lock-in trick. And then I'm trying to shoot, and you see how you just get picked up? Like, there's no way. I'm doing the same shoot, and he's not able to shoot in free, and we're able to get a lot of free yards out of that. Now, that is really good in and of itself, but there is a way to make it a little bit better, in my opinion. And what that's going to be is, let's look at our blocking from our line right here. You see how we have, these, dotted lines, right? What that means is they're basically in, drop empty protection. So this is a pass protection, right? Where they're going to assume, hey, we're 5 outing here, right? We're going to drop back, make it look like a pass, and then engage. Well, if you change your blocking, hitting L1 and then down on the left stick to base, right? You see how that went from those dashed lines to these solid T's. What that's going to look like now is these guys are going to drop back less, which is really important when you're running draw. I'd always recommend running draw normally first, but if you run draw and you notice, hey, this defensive end is, coming in free when he runs a stunt, like my O-line's just dumbing out, it's probably because you need to put it on base. And then, let me snap the ball here. What you're going to see is, again, you get really good blocking there. We just got shedded. Granted, that's why I'd recommend strong grip, by the way. If you guys notice you're getting shedded in the run game, strong grip's really good. But again, do the same thing. We go base protection. And you're able to see here how everyone kind of gets blocked up, and we're able to get pretty good yards down the, right down the middle of the field, honestly, on this guy. Now let me do it from a defensive perspective where I'm going to set up my run shoot, right? Come in here. I'm going to set up base protection. This is what it looks like on offense. We're going to use our run shoot. Ball snap. I'm trying to come in this A gap. And you see how right there, I actually was able to come in free. So that's part of what you want to see is sometimes base protection can screw you up and other times it doesn't. So that's kind of the little mini game I play in my actual head-to-head games is, hey, do I go with the normal protection or do I rock the base protection? Because it just changes how they block a little bit. But even still, you're still going to see, well, yes, the user's coming in free now. Again, normally I only go to base if it's like a send 4. But what you're seeing is, right, is this draw kind of brings you the other way. So unless they hit a perfectly timed dive tackle, you tend to not get hit in the backfield immediately. But again, back to just why we call draw. That was something I wanted to show it. If you notice, like, hey, he's stunting and the guy's coming in free, go to base. If not, I leave my draw protection basic, right? And then they go to shoot it. And it's not really shootable. Now that's how we didn't get it. But you guys saw earlier, right? Let me actually run the ball so the AI doesn't just run straight into the lineman. Let me even blitz this guy. Right? And then we're going to snap the rock. And you're able to see her, you're kind of just able to find a hole and get up the field, right? Obviously, the AI is just stupid when it comes to running and just runs right into the back of the guy. But that's the first thing we're going to look for is powerful draw plays against these kind of run shoots. They tend to work really, really well. And then if they start trying to do a stunt or mix something up, and then you go to base protection to take that away. Just a little cat and mouse game. Hey, do I go base? Do I not go base? But those are really, really powerful runs. The second run, I guess, that I really like versus these are any sort of toss play. So this can be crack toss out of like bunch strong offset, right? This could be a variety of tosses. I'm just going to call it crack toss because I think it's the most popular that you guys probably have a lot of your playbooks. Let me call it crack toss. Let me come out and mint, right? And what we're going to see here, again, let me do this exact same setup. Even if I want to shoot to this left gap, right? Let's say I'm literally running straight to the left gap. Because the crack toss out, when I get blocked, and then obviously I don't know what the AI is doing, why it's just staying in the backfield not running. But you can see how, I mean, even just conceptually this makes sense. There's no gap to shoot when we're pulling outside, right? So let me blitz this guy, and then we'll just like run on offense this time. See, everyone gets blocked. And yeah, you're able to, maybe to make a man miss, but you see how we're getting proper blocks and we're not getting just gap shot in the backfield. So that's where crack toss comes in really, really handy versus these stunts, versus these run shoots. Is because it just makes it to where there's no way to get A-gapped out of it. That's really the two types of runs that I use to run on these plays. One thing I do want to point out specifically against Dollar is just how good draw is. Draw's decent against Mint, but you got to think, again, there's 6 people, let's say, quote-unquote blitzing, counting the user in Mint. Well, in Dime 2, 3, or Dollars, it's really called, there isn't, right? Let's come out in SS Zone Blitz. This is what a lot of people call, right? And then they're going to technically this plays on the wrong side of the field, but it'll work, right? They'll do something like this, and then you'd come and lurk right here, and then snap the ball, they're going to run shoot down. Let's call draw versus this and see what happens. You're going to see, because there's less bodies in the box, this is when draw really shines, is against Dollar. So if you guys are struggling with Dollar, highly, highly recommend calling just stock draw. And what you're going to see is, because there's only 5 people in the box, everybody, like, you see how this run shoot, there's nowhere for him to, like, gap between the guard because the guard just immediately engages him. Even this blitzing backer right here gets picked up by this guy, and half the time he may be zoned out, right? And you just get perfect blocking. Again, this is why we run strong grip on our center so that he doesn't just get auto-shedded like that. But again, you see how the targeting, right? We're fixing a targeting problem by, I didn't mean to flip the offensive play. I meant to flip the defensive play. But you can see how we're fixing this targeting problem, right? By, what in the hell am I doing? Right, how everybody come here. Maybe they like crash right. That's pretty common. You get a little looper going here. Again, we're just going to call base draw. I'm just going to let the AI run while I try to shoot the run. And you see how even when I kind of glitch through there, I still kind of get bumped, and you're just not really able to make a super tackle. And it's most people do not have good run shoots out of Dollar for this. Just to be honest, they just don't. They don't really know what they're doing. They kind of panic here. And you see everyone gets blocked for the most part. And then if I go back to actually run the ball on offense, because again, you got to remember, right, I'm not actually running, which is always, fun. Let me just blitz this guy and then like put him right in the same position. Again, it's hard for me to like do both at the same time. But if I go to run the ball, you're going to see here I'm kind of able to just run away from the guys that aren't actually blocked and get up the field because they're just not taking great angles. So that's why sometimes you may say, oh, hey, that guy's in a perfect position. Just run away from him because you can go anywhere off of the draw. It's not like it forces you, like sometimes some runs force you like in a direction. Draw doesn't do that. So Draw is really, really powerful against dollar specifically, but also really, really good against those mint blitzes and just other general 4-down sets. But again, versus 4-down sets, I prefer to go with dive and crack toss. Now, in the red zone, one of the things that you're going to see is a lot of people in mint. If we're in Notre Dame, we try to run our QB blast, and sometimes your QB blast can get shot in the same way. That's where we're just simply going to want to call like QB G down, or if you guys are in another playbook, maybe QB power instead of QB dive or whatever, right? Because if we come out in, let's say Tampa 2, right? So they're here, and this is G down, I believe. Yes. So versus, let me call it power real quick, or blast. So on the defensive side, I go to shoot this, and I can kind of run in untouched here and get the quarterback sometimes. But if they call G down, which I believe this is the play, right? It's very much like crack toss, right? There's really nowhere to run shoot to because he's running out. So it's very similar to crack toss, and that if you're seeing that, I like to go to QBG down. So if you guys are in Notre Dame and you run my QB runs, you're like, hey, this is getting shot in the red zone. That's why, and that's what we're going to do about it. Okay, so I hope you guys are able to learn something about how I'm able to run the ball. Again, utilizing draws and crack tosses versus these kind of run shoots. And then occasionally, if I'm getting stunted, mixing in that base protection at a draw, because that just kills stunts, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and please let me know if you learned something. And if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. Very much helps me grow and gets this video out to other people. Additionally, if you guys are still watching, you probably liked what you saw and learned something. If that's the case, please go drop a follow on my Twitch. It's going to be linked down in the description. It's @Ginobili__. I'm live every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday nights. And that's where, we're able to engage live. You guys are asking any questions you have, anything like that. It's been a great, great time. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of you there. So I'd really appreciate if you guys could do that. But if not, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.